Kansas City, Missouri, June 25, 2023. What should have been a joyful birthday celebration turned into one of the darkest chapters in the city's recent history. It was the night 28-year-old Jasity Strong, a beloved mother of two and a rising community figure, was brutally gunned down during her own birthday party. What began with balloons and music ended in bloodshed and screams, yet another life lost to the relentless grip of gun violence. Hours before the chaos, Jasity posted to social media with an air of fiery confidence, proclaiming, "This is my birthday and I am 28. I will smack a big bitch, what they're gonna do. I send you right to the Lord." A playful taunt, perhaps. But no one could have predicted those words would echo with such chilling irony by sunrise. The celebration took place at Perfect Touch Auto, a community-owned venue near 57th Street and Prospect Avenue. It wasn't a luxury hall, but it was theirs, a modest place with history, laughter, and memories built into its walls. This wasn't just a party, it was a moment of pride, community, and love, a testament to Jasity's impact on the people around her. She had spent the evening glowing, moving through the crowd with her signature smile. Her children played nearby. Friends and family reunited. It was exactly the kind of night Jasity lived for, but at around 4:30 a.m., gunfire erupted just outside in the parking lot. An altercation between individuals not connected to the party had escalated. Harsh words became shouts. Then, the unthinkable, multiple rounds of gunfire cracked through the night like a sudden storm. Inside, the joyful atmosphere disintegrated into terror. Screams pierced the music. People hit the floor. Others ran to protect their children. By the time the chaos subsided, 3 people lay dead, including the birthday girl, Jasity Strong. Alongside her, 29-year-old Camden Brown and 22-year-old Nico Manning were also killed. 5 others were injured, some critically. The parking lot was now a war zone, strewn with shell casings, blood, and shattered lives. None of the deceased were part of the altercation. They were bystanders, collateral damage in a conflict they had no role in. What had started as a small dispute outside became a mass shooting that forever altered the lives of every person present. Jasity Strong had been a certified nursing assistant by day, and a self-taught makeup artist by night. She was building a beautiful life for her 2 children. Her murder was not just tragic, it was senseless, and it left a gaping hole in the hearts of her family and the community. The trauma for the survivors is unimaginable. Wounded physically and emotionally, they must now carry the burden of survival, memories of gunshots replacing music, and lifeless bodies replacing loved ones. Emergency services flooded the scene. Police cordoned off the parking lot. Ambulances rushed the injured to local hospitals. Families searched for loved ones. Mothers screamed. Fathers wept. Kansas City hadn't just lost 3 lives, it lost a piece of itself. When Tamika Jenkins, Jasity's mother, got the phone call in the early hours of June 26, her world shattered. "They said Jazz is dead," she recalled. Her initial reaction? "You lying." The denial was instant. Her daughter had been alive just hours earlier, laughing, dancing, celebrating. Now, she was gone. For Jasity's 2 young children, the loss was even more devastating. They would never again feel their mother's embrace, hear her voice, or share their joys and fears with her. Their world would now be shaped by grief and absence. Police arrived swiftly, but what greeted them was chaos. A crowded venue, a noisy celebration turned traumatic, and a parking lot filled with witnesses too stunned to remember. It was a challenging crime scene, dark, scattered, and emotionally charged. Detectives worked against the clock, aware that the first 48 hours were crucial. But the case stalled. Witnesses, traumatized and afraid, struggled to give useful information. The physical evidence was extensive but yielded few immediate leads. Weeks passed with no arrests. For families like that of Jasity, Camden, and Nico, the weight became unbearable. Public pressure mounted. Press conferences were held. Community meetings erupted in frustration. They needed justice, and they needed it now. Rather than retreat into silence, Jasity's family chose to fight. Her mother, aunt, and community members turned their grief into action. They stood before city council meetings and community events. They demanded not just accountability, but change. Missouri Representative Richard Brown joined their cause, helping them push for stricter gun laws, waiting periods, and more community investment in violence prevention. Jasity's aunt, Trish Mitchell, became the voice of the movement, declaring, "There's never any action behind thoughts and prayers. My Bible says faith without works is dead." Her words resonated beyond Kansas City, striking a chord with families across the nation tired of empty condolences. Jasity's death was not an isolated incident. In 2023, Kansas City faced a devastating rise in gun violence. Shootings in homes, on sidewalks, at parties, no place was truly safe. The Safe KC initiative, launched by local officials, aimed to address the epidemic by targeting repeat offenders and offering alternatives to crime. But community members argued, it's not enough. Prevention requires more than law enforcement, it needs education, economic opportunity, mental health support, and above all, unity. Jasity Strong's name is now etched into the memory of Kansas City. Her life, full of promise, creativity, and maternal love, was stolen in a moment of senseless violence. But her family refuses to let her legacy die. In candlelight vigils, murals, and balloon releases, the community honors her. In legislative halls and neighborhood forums, her story fuels calls for reform. And in the hearts of her children, her light still burns. She was more than a statistic, she was a mother, a daughter, a nurse, an artist. Her life mattered, and her death demands justice. The tragic story of Jasity Strong teaches us powerful, sobering lessons that extend beyond one family or one city. Here are the key takeaways. 1. Gun violence can touch anyone, anywhere. Jasity was not involved in gangs or criminal activity. She was celebrating her birthday, surrounded by family, friends, and her children. Her death reminds us that gun violence doesn't always target its victims. Innocent lives are often lost simply by being in the wrong place at the wrong time. This underscores the urgent need for proactive community and legislative measures to make public spaces truly safe. 2. A single moment can change lives forever. What began as a joyful party ended in bloodshed within seconds. This shows how conflicts, especially those involving weapons, can escalate rapidly, leaving no time for intervention or escape. It reminds us to de-escalate conflicts wherever possible and promote peace before things spiral. 3. Gun violence leaves deep, lasting scars. Beyond the victims, families and entire communities suffer. Jasity's children will grow up without their mother. Witnesses and survivors will carry the trauma for a lifetime. The ripple effects of violence spread far beyond the scene of the crime. Healing requires more than time, it requires community support, mental health resources, and compassion. 4. Thoughts and prayers are not enough. Jasity's aunt, Trish Mitchell, delivered a powerful truth: faith without works is dead. This story calls on all of us to go beyond sympathy. Real change requires real action, advocating for reforms, supporting violence prevention programs, and holding leaders accountable. Silence and inaction only allow the cycle to continue. 5. Grief can become a force for change, despite their heartbreak. Jasity's family turned their pain into purpose. They became vocal advocates, working with lawmakers to push for better policies. Their story shows that ordinary people, when fueled by love and loss, can drive extraordinary change. 6. Community safety requires collective effort. From local leaders to law enforcement to neighbors, everyone has a role to play. Violence prevention must include mentoring youth, providing economic opportunity, supporting families in crisis, and creating safe environments. No single policy or person can do it alone. 7. Never let a life become just a statistic. Jasity Strong was not just a victim. She was a mother, caregiver, artist, and joybringer. Her story teaches us to honor the humanity of every person taken by violence and to ensure their names, stories, and legacies are never forgotten. In honoring Jasity's life and acknowledging her tragic death, we're reminded to protect each other, stand up against violence, and demand a better, safer future for all.